A small hole is created in the ground where the blood of the animal is going to be buried. Using a sharp knife, she aims at the neck of the fowl. There's a major artery there, and so she aims at that artery so that all the blood can gush out to induce death of the fowl. We already had a cauldron of water on fire whilst this process was going on. I then covered the hole of blood with soil with my feet. It is now time to pluck the feathers of the bird. She submerged the bird in the hot water to allow the hot water to get to all the follicles of the feathers of the bird so that the feathers can be removed easily. She then transfers the bird to a tray so that she can start with the plucking of the feathers. Anyway, if it's your first time here, please subscribe to join the family. My name is Khadijah Khalid and nice to meet you. If you're returning to watch this video of mine as well, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. She continues to do this until she has been able to remove most of the feathers, and then the remaining feathers that she wasn't able to remove, she's going to submerge the fowl back into the cauldron of hot water so that the removal of the feathers will continue to be easy. She then submerges the chicken feet into the hot water so that she can remove the scaly part of the legs. Ewoma. Okay. Biane wo ba shan wo hi. Ewoma ba kefa wo ba shan ye. Mama sanu wo shan. I asked Mom why we need to do the following process, and she said we need the chicken to be free from feathers as possible, and so we would have to give it to some source of heat for some time. But before that, she rinses the chicken before transferring it to the coal pot. Whilst that is going on, I pick a broom and sweep the space before we continue. After those tiny feathers on the chicken have been taken care of by the fire, she goes ahead and rinses the chicken before she starts to work on it. And she said that some people would even use soap and water to wash the chicken at this point, but she's saying that that is wrong. This is soap we are talking about, and it is very wrong to do that. She starts to work on the head of the chicken. She removes some parts of the head of the chicken, like the comb and the beak of the chicken. She then opens the mouth. I think she removes the tongue of the chicken, and then she goes ahead to remove the eyes of the chicken as well, because she said some people like to eat the head of the chicken. After working on the head, she goes ahead to cut off the legs as well. Right after that, she cuts off the claws of the bird or the chicken. You have to also bear in mind that this bird is a free-range bird, and so its bones are very hard. So I asked her why she had to break the leg of the fowl, and she said she needed all the calcium goodness of the bones to be released into the dish we are going to use it to prepare. Said that at this point you would have to put the legs and the head together like the way she is doing, because usually the one who gets to eat the legs gets to eat the head as well. Right now she's going to take care of the limbs of the bird, and she begins to cut off the wings of the bird. She then aims at the joints to make the cutting easy. She proceeds to cut off the drumstick and the thigh of the bird, and then she removes that part of the joint. And then she said that if the thigh and the drumstick are too big, you can divide them into two. She's saying that there's a bone here, but then usually if you want to go by that method, it is a longer process. So instead of that, you use the bones that she's cutting, like the part where she's cutting, to do that. But then when you're doing it, she advised that you'd have to be careful, because if you don't take care, you might end up cutting yourself. So after that, she divides the bird into two like so. Oh, what part only am I? I know some of the names of the parts and some I don't, but I can teach you. First of all, we remove the head and then take care of the beak and then the tongue and also the comb. And then we went ahead to cut the legs of the chicken and then we put them together. After that, we came to take care of the wings, and then we went ahead to cut off the thighs and the drumstick, after which we divided them into two. After all that, we came to also divide the chicken into two. For the parts of the intestines where we can eat, we keep them, and for the parts that we cannot eat, we discard them. It's time for us to remove the guts of the chicken, and we would have to cut out that part, which is the anus, because you don't want to mix it with the actual meat, since they pass out stool through their anus. So now we cut off the back and put that aside. As for this part, this is all that we have to do to it. We would have to get rid of this part. This is the part where most of us refer to as trophy. It is full of fat, so if you don't want to have that, you can just get rid of it. Now I'm going to remove the gizzard. While removing the gizzard, you have to ensure that you're extremely careful because there's the gallbladder. Inside the gallbladder is the bile, which is very bitter. And it is very delicate as well, and so you need to be extra careful so that you do not spill it on the meat. If not, it can't be consumed. She proceeds to cut open the gizzard, and then she removes the pebble-like substances inside the gizzard. So for the rest of the intestines of the chicken, she just separates the various parts of the guts and then puts them aside. The ones that we'll be able to consume, she keeps them, and the ones that you may not like, you discard. So at this point, Mom was like, I shouldn't take videos of this part of the video because according to her, it is not okay for you to include the comb after dressing the chicken. But one of her grandkids loves it, and so she's going to save it for him. And also I'm stubborn, so I video. And that brings us to the end of the video. If you liked it, please subscribe.